Thank you, everybody. Walk in peace and joy. And as I said, we will leave the platform open for anyone who wants to share unofficially from now on.
Hello, everyone, from me as well. We would really like to say special thanks, especially to Sylvia, Till, Inez, Adam, and Mary, all the close friends and associates and colleagues of David, for sharing with us all these touching moments, but also, and most importantly, the light of David. It was an honor for us to host this celebration, and we really thank you from our hearts. We'd like to move on. If anyone would like to say a few words, we'll give everybody a couple of minutes from now on. You could please raise hand, use the raise hand in the chat and on the screen, sorry, and we'll just give everybody a turn. Shall we start with Antigone?
Hello from me, Sylvia, Till, Mary, a big hug all the way from Athens. And I'm talking first of all as a pupil of biosynthesis, which also changed my life. And I cannot imagine where I would be today if I didn't follow biosynthesis, I didn't meet David, and I did meet Lily. But also right now, I would like to talk with my official role as a managing editor of International Body Psychotherapy Journal. And I would like to say that I'm very, very glad that with Sylvia's help and Lily's help, we had a nice, many pages for David, a nice interview with David, pictures of David. And we had this opportunity to do that before David went to the moon. So thank you very much for that. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Lily, for offering us all these pictures, material, conversations, and support to do that. And I'm very touched about that. Thank you very much. And in this issue, we will also have a small devotion to David as well. And we feel honored to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Antigone. Thank you very much. Avi, please take turn.
Okay, thank you. I would like to, I met David in 1982, so 40 years ago, and he was already a very wise man at that time. Till was telling before in his very, very catchy story that the last act of David actually was listening. And that was David was doing always, and wonderful and perfectly. And I have to, I just tell you a scene. I was then a student in 1982 in Israel, a student of not biosynthesis, not biodynamic, the movement of Reich. And David came to our course, and he said at the beginning, as he always did, started, "What is your hot potato? What do you need?" And I said, "Well, I don't need anything. I just came to listen to you." I felt very, very safe with myself, very sure of myself. In the end of the course, David put me in a position, touched my roots and touched my neck, and I had a lightning of heat. And his humor and wonderful understanding, he said, "Well, for somebody who doesn't need anything, you need a lot of warmth." And this unique person anyway, but this unique sense of humor, this unique of deep understanding of things, this unique way to work with people, each individual differently, it's something, it's a loss for the world. And I agree with you, Till, he was a role model. For me, he was the role model anyway. And it was, for me, I wrote already, David and Celia, this decision to make this course at your place was the best decision that I ever made in my life, ever. And something personally, Sylvia, with a personal talk with David, he told me, without Sylvia, all of this wouldn't take place, wouldn't happen. So that's kept with us all the time. So thank you very, very much for this wonderful, wonderful family of biosynthesis.
Thank you so much, Avi. Thank you very much. Anybody else would like to say something? This is the time to raise hand. And yes, Isabella, would you like to?
Kjo
I'm trying
Kenneth, Nelly.
to raise
Kjo
my hand.
Kjo Kenneth sa po princikon to heri tu.
Sorry.
trying-
Sorry, Ken. Yes, so sorry.
Okay.
Isabella, would you mind waiting? So, Ken, thank you.
I just want to say, I come from a different angle than any of you, I think. I'm somewhat a few years older than David, and I met him about 1968, 69, a long time ago. And I think when he first did, the first training he did, I think, was as a part of my training many, many years ago. We became very good friends, and that we've remained that for the last more than 50 years, with interludes of not being much in contact, other interludes of being very much in contact. Sometimes we did groups together, and then in the evening, we'd read poems to each other that we'd written over the groups. After every group, he would write poems about the people in the group. And that was really quite wonderful. That was more than I did. Mine were more general, and his were very specific about the people in the group. And that was just lovely. We were very different in qualities and very different as people, and we both recognized that, and it made us in a kind of loving wrestle, as if we were wrestling with each other the whole time. We did actually wrestle together, but I thought I could read you one little poem that you just saw a poem now, which ends, "Who dies? I don't," or something like that, doesn't it? And I wanted to, oh gosh, where has it gone? I just had it. Oh dear. Oh dear. Maybe I've got it here. Oh yes. So when he said, "Who dies?" he says, "I don't, not I." And I wrote back up, because we were in the last couple of years, really, in constant poetic exchange. He'd write me a poem, I'd write him a poem, and especially in the last months before he died. And he says, and I wrote this poem back, "Who dies? I die. All that is born dies. What time brings, it ends. All that has name and form, all that was proudly individual and particular, dissolves away. I, all. The glory of eternity is only now, beyond time, beyond self, beyond all knowing, beyond all known and knowing, within and beyond all I." And that was the kind of relationship we had, sort of very close, quite intimate, and yet wrestling. And I was saying no to him, but at the same time I was saying yes. All that you described, you lovely people here, about his qualities of, I subscribe to very deeply. He was real, at the best sense, an English gentleman, and I really loved him. I thought of him for many years as my best friend, even in times when I didn't see him. And he actually, at the time of his daughter's death, said I was his best friend. He wanted to see me, and that. But I was in another country, another continent, I believe. And anyway, we couldn't meet at that time. But he was a sort of loving wrestling partner for the truth. but what we both felt to be the truth. He had a very similar intimation of truth, and that was wonderful. And I really miss him now. I mean, naturally, all my colleagues are dead now or dying, but David particularly I miss. And that's all I really want to say. I loved you, David. I loved you, and I loved fighting with you, and I loved holding you and wrestling with you, even physically, was a kind of love meeting. And we were utterly different. He was so beautifully organized, and I was so wonderfully disorganized, unorganized. And I think we appreciate that in each other. Okay, David, bye.
Thank you very much, Ken. I believe, Isabella, it's your turn. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
You can increase your, yeah, try again.
Hello?
Yeah, that's great. We can hear you now.
I have to start.
A little louder, please. Little louder.
So I have to stop hiding.
Ah, that's fine. Go ahead.
So I want to thank David and his wonderful family for everything. And I have a little poem I have wrote. I've been given to David. Can you hear me?
Yes, Isabella, please go on.
To David, on hearted wings, you moved on from this wonderful world. In peace, you see those seeded you sowed. One light, many rays, sun rays, moon rays, cycles in nature, cycles of love, of joy, of surprises, of time, of hope, of trust, of growth, of surrender and peace. Moon paths in darkness, moon paths in light, moon paths of life, moon paths of blood, moon paths of love, moon paths cycling around Earth and you, moon paths and tides waving life's memories, birthing new comings, waving spaces, weaving through the galactic's breathless heart to beat ahead and again throughout timeline and space. Moon paths, tides in thy veins, brains, veins and heart. Pathways of the stillness behind the stillness of your being. Tides of love in the moon world of the womb seeded from your heart. Blessings shrouded in the moon's light love. Aislis. And
Thank you so much, Isabella. Thank you very much.
Still have
now,
a second. Can
sorry.
I continue?
Oh, I thought you'd finished. Sorry.
I'm sorry, this is a second little, really short one.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
To you, David. Moonlight begins in the darkness with a spark of magic, as life does.
moon pathways, shadowed beginnings, brightest at midnight, lights, zenith full moon abundance, moving back into the darkest point at its very best, before ahead a new moon, all starts again, never in vain, never too dark, never too bright, always right at the beginning of the new chapter of a moon fairy tale, or a new life, sheen of the heart. David, you are from Iceland.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I believe it's the turn of Vic. It's your turn.
I want to say to Sylvia and Till, and to the wonderful community that Sylvia really helped create with David, how moving it's been to be part of this celebration of his life, and how much you both created together, and how life-giving, important work that you did together, which will continue into the future. Anna and me met David in 1978, and we just had a late miscarriage. And we had come back to London from Paris, and we were seeing David almost for one of our first sessions with him. We'd done groups with him in London in the middle to the late 70s. David was there and present in one of our deep moments of crisis, and he could really be there with you in a way that had depth, honesty, and really helped you engage and helped us engage with a very difficult moment in life. And when Ken talked about wrestling, there was something about being with David in a group, wrestling with him, to know how he trusted the body. And he trusted the body and the movement of the body and the life of the body as connected to emotions and the spirit. David refused to charge us for the session. He says, I won't charge you. I would never charge you. This was a moment of emergency. And I remember just how deeply we both felt in appreciation to him. For the next 7 years, every month, Anna and I would take the train across from East London to Ealing in West London. Acton in West London, Anna and I say. And we would do sessions with him. And it was a kind of training. He said he wasn't training anybody at that point, but he was training us through doing the work with him. And we did it with him. And we learnt an enormous amount from him. But there was something a moment that was sparked in me. There was a time, and I talked very closely with David. We had very deep discussions around body psychotherapy and its development. And there was a moment that David worked with someone who was in a spiritual crisis. And David was trying to understand the relationship of the body to a spiritual emotional crisis that went beyond the traditional terms of body psychotherapy as it had emerged through Reich's work that David was very dedicated to. And this person had a kind of spiritual crisis that helped David think about the notion of spiritual grounding, that you weren't simply grounded in your body and in the earth, but you also grounded in and through the spirit, some sense of spirituality. And that prepared David in some way for the very deep and difficult moment that both Anna and me lived with him, and others did very closely, when his daughter died so suddenly. And we worked consistently, it must have been through 8 or 9 years, and David went through through that moment where David became a sannyasin and was identified with Bhagwan. David was a man prepared to experiment and try new things. And if they weren't truthful and they weren't real, he would break, as he did with that. But he learned about the way to find the truth was also to explore his own truth and his own loss. And we next met David, both of us, in the context of the Bob Moore group, which I think was really important for David, really important for Sylvia, was where we met in a different way every summer. And I just feel such gratitude for the meetings that me and Anna had with David and Sylvia,
and Sally,
and Sally and other people. There was a kind of community in Denmark, a community around Ringkøbing and Sonnevig, where we would meet for 10 or 15 years. And there was a kind of coming together, which I think David and Sylvia both produced, of a different kind of spiritual work that worked with different chakras and worked in a very detailed way around subtle anatomy. And that was a very important kind of growth experience for all of us, all interested in body psychotherapies. People from across Europe and across the world would emerge and come through that Bob Moore experience. And I think David and Sylvia then went back to Switzerland and integrated and find ways of really creating a new way of working, which has been really, really important. I just wanted to remember that. I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say that even though neither of us have seen David for 20 years, or even more, there was a way that particularly I carry him in my work, in my writing, in my life. So you don't have to see somebody for them to be part of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You take them into your heart, as we did years back through working with him as a therapist. And that will be something that everybody can do. It's something we can learn to do, so that his wisdom and his understanding is there. But also we understand all the difficulties and realities. David was nowhere there to present himself as anything but a human being who had faults, who had difficulties like everybody. So the sense of spirituality was to deepen our sense of the way that across differences, we are involved in a process of growth and development. So I just wanted to say it's been a privilege to be part of this celebration for both of us. And it brings deep memories and deep feelings of gratitude and love. And I'm sure that will continue.
I would like to say one thing before we end. Vic said it all. I have nothing else to say, but I just wanted to say that it was amazing to see Till and to see you, Sylvia, after so many years, and Sally, but to see his godmother, to see Till as a grown-up man, because we knew Till as a little baby, as a toddler, and as a young little boy. And to see Till with his lovely wife, Inez, and to find out that he has 2 children as well. It's just, we didn't know. And to be part of all this wonderful, wonderful, so moving celebration. I'm so grateful. And I feel so nourished and so full. And David still lives in my heart and still lives within all the work and all the wisdom and all the knowledge and everything that he and all the friendship and love that he gave to me and to Vic and our family. Just wanted to say that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. Thank you so much, both of you. Bat, it's your turn.
Me? Hello, everyone. I'm Batel, a student for fourth year in the Israeli Institute of Biosynthesis. I'm so blessed and honored to be here, to be present with you in this honor of David. What I want to share is that before this meeting, I wanted and prepared a candle to light at the beginning of this meeting. And I had 3 candles in a box. And a memory came to me of a workshop we did with Gabriela from Germany, a supervision workshop. And at the end of this workshop, near the end, she gave us an image. She shared with us an image that stayed with me so much. I even painted it in my notebook. It was an image of a candle that is lighted from both sides. And it was so symbolic and meaningful. It touched me so much. It was a Zoom workshop. And what an image can transfer even through Zoom. And spontaneously, an hour before, I made this this image. Spontaneously made it, and I'm blessing this meaningful. These two heads, these two starts, these two beginnings and end between ground and sky, this bridge that is ever lasting. I'm a student of life. Even without personally knowing, and in this point, signal of time, I'm feeling the sense of knowing and the sense of a community. I know it in my bones and in my heart. I know it from the first sight of biosynthesis, and I'm just blessed to be present and blessed with the presence of David that is everlasting and transferring between worlds, between dimensions, behind times. And I will light this candle with the blessings of this community, I hope, with the blessing of me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Runar, to you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, just want to make sure I'm muted. I guess for people who don't know me, which is probably most of you, I am, I guess, David Boadella's grandson. I don't have many memories of David because I only really met him once, but I would still like to share that memory I have of him. I believe I was probably around 7 years old when me and Adam went to visit him in Switzerland. And at the time, I only knew maybe 2 words of English, so I didn't speak any like we didn't share any language that we each spoke because I only knew Icelandic really at the time. But I still have, you know, this was 25, almost 30 years ago, I think. But I still have very fond memories of this trip, and it's all sensational, all just emotional memories, because I don't remember anything spoken. I don't remember, you know, any conversations with him. But I just remember, you know, the house in the green hills overlooking a village, I believe, and taking hikes up into these hills and having little picnics and just all these just beautiful, just happy memories of our time visiting there. And I remember Till, I believe, as this, you know, 7-year-old boy that I played with, even though we had no common language. I just still have these memories of the visit. And, you know, even to this day, I still tell stories of this visit to people sometimes just to kind of explain this connection you can have with people, even when you don't share a language. And yeah, I wish I'd known him more. I wish I'd known him better. I have a hard time sometimes with communications, and he reached out to me when my eldest daughter here was born, and I just kind of failed to communicate back, and I kind of regret that he never got to know his great-granddaughters or that they ever got to know him. And that is what it is, but hopefully his memory can live on. So yeah, thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Runar. Lovely to meet you as well, part of the family. And I'm sure you can talk to him as much as you like, even from now on. Keep in touch. Okay, everyone. Anybody else would like to say something? If not, Sylvia, would you like to move on to something else?
Let's see. I just, I was very touched to hear as well from Vic and Anna, our very old friends, where we met every summer in the all English group of Bob Moore. Let's see, where are you? I go to the gallery that I can see you. Yes, and with Sally, and it brought all these memories back to me of this incredible time where we got this teaching and this deep sharing and this being together in Denmark. And when I remember all this, I feel an enormous gratefulness for what has came along our path. So it was really, really moving to hear you speak. And as well, Runar, I remember you very well when you were with us in Haydn. Let's see, where are you? I try to find you. I remember how you enjoyed the forest, for example. and I think we even looked for foxes there, and so it brought all these memories back of our family life as well. And I think with the whole sharing, I just mentioned now Vic and Anna and Sally, I was so moved what you said. It was, I hear Bob Moore saying to you, Sally, this is spot on. And so with all this, I feel an enormous enrichment which came to my eyes with this ceremony. So I could now mention only very few people, but with everyone, I felt it. So it's great. So if everyone else wants to share, it is an enrichment. So as you feel.
Would you like to, we could open the chat now, or if you'd like to wait for a little while, it's up to you.
How do you mean with the chat? That just people write to each other?
No, I mean just unmute everybody so that, you know, there
Yes.
can be a...
Yeah, I think you can unmute.
Unmute, yeah, so that people can talk to each other. That's what I mean.
Ah, okay. So we are not anymore mute, but people can just talk to each other.
Yeah, before closing, we give just a short more time for goodbyes.
Yeah, I think that's very nice.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to speak, it would be okay, but I think everyone has said who wanted to speak.
Yeah, why not?
Right. So it's nice to make this.
Yeah.
Adrian wants to speak, I think.
Yeah, I just would like to share a little thing I had with David and also with Sylvia. I was having a bit of a rough time in my life, and I met Biosynthesis, and that really changed everything for me. To encounter Sylvia and David made me grounding, and being able to have a family and a partner. And there are no words to say thank you. But this image I had on the journey with David, being a tree in the storm, and birds are coming and shitting on branches and washing with the rain away, that still keeps on in my heart. And also the work with Sylvia with energy, that energy really can transform, is there and is real. That was a big gift for me. And it makes me missing David, but also keeping him and all the people I met in my heart. And that really is a richness I don't know how to thank you for.
Thank you very much, Adrian.
Yes. We remember you, Adrian, from Israel.
Yes, I'd like to say something, to tell an episode with David. I was his client once, very long ago in the 70s, early 70s, and I was a very rough client. And I said to David, go away, just go away, go to the far corner of the room. And he did. I said, turn your back to me. I can't bear your looking at me. And he did. And it was a whole session with him with his back turned to me in the far corner of the room. And it was a wonderful session. And he was one of the very few therapists I knew who could take such a thing, who even could take me. But he could, and it was a very good session. There was no sense of grudge about it. When I said such things to Eva Reich and so on, she just exploded that our client should speak to her in that way. But David was calm and loving, and we became very close. I never became a student of his, but in a way, I've always been a student of his through friendship. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. This wonderful episode.
Could I speak now? Could I speak now?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for your sharing. Mary, you are on.
Oh, thank you. Is that Dimitri I was speaking to just then?
Yes.
Is that Dimitri?
Yes, Mary.
Yes, and which is Nelly?
Hello, I'm here.
Oh, hello, Nelly. I wanted to say thank you to both of you for being so patient with me. And I was preparing everything I wanted to say. And I wanted to say to Sylvia, Sylvia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Sylvia, I wanted to say how pleased I was that Runa was listening to all the memories, because I hadn't realized I've never seen him before. It was very nice for me to see him. And I wanted to also say to you that for many years, David and I were always in touch, but he was on a different path than I was. And then suddenly, after about 30 years, we found we were on the same path. Because as you know, Sylvia, I taught yoga for 40 years. And there's a great closeness to yoga and what you are doing with biosynthesis. There is a similarity. I put the fact that we were finally on the... Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yes.
And I put the fact that we finally, even without saying anything, were on the same path because of our father. Our father had a great influence on us about the spiritual life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very interesting to know that after all those years, when we were in touch, but not talking about what each other were doing, we finally found that we were on a similar path. And I think it was the influence of our father, our mother too, but mainly our father, who was very much into all the great teachings of the world. Isn't that an interesting fact, that we finally were in such a similar area of operation? So I was very pleased to hear everything today. It was a lovely ceremony. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Mary.
And I'll speak to you soon.
Wonderful. I love you. It's wonderful. We keep in touch, Mary.
Yes, we will.
And
Thank
David,
you.
and thank you. And David wrote quite some poems about this connection to your father.
Oh, did he?
So when I come across, I will send it to you.
Yes. Are you coming across, do you mean online or do you mean physically?
No, I send it as a Word document.
She comes across the poems, I think she means, yes.
I mean, when I find the poems,
yes,
which David has written about the connection to the Father, yes, and to the spiritual teaching, which you both are rooted.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Mary, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dimitri.
Mary, it was lovely seeing you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Nelly.
Thank you for your help.
Nelly?
Yes, Angela.
I want to say a few words, please.
If there are very few, you're welcome. Please. Yes.
All I can say is that I and Biosynthesis community of Rio de Janeiro have eternal gratitude for our master, David Boadella, who, with the light of his knowledge, made us feel, think, and act in a much bigger and better way for our personal and professional life. Thank you forever. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Till. Thank you, Nelly. Thank you, Vasilis. Gratitude.
Angela. Gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
So,
Time to say goodbye.
Yes.
I believe that we have come to the end of this absolutely great ceremony. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Sylvia. And of course, thank you, Lily, for organizing everything.
Let us be blessed all.
Thank you. Thank you all. Great to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you
So much
Love
for
you.
all.
Love you, Sylvia. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Liane.
Bye.
Sylvia.
Bye. Aldo.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
Thank you so
bye,
much.
Aldo.
Bye. Everybody.
Bye bye. Thank you,
Bye bye.
Liane.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Valdo.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Lily.
Thank you. Thank you, Lily. Vasilis. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
Cynthia.
Thank you, Liane.
Bye, Carol.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye, Eunice. Bye,
everyone.
Liane.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Bye,
Bye, everybody.
bye.
Bye.
Bye, 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 bye. Bye, bye.
Bye, Elisa.
Bye, bye. Bye.
Bye, Till. Bye, Till.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
Blessings to
Bye,
everyone.
Bye, bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Consegui entrar. Beijo.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye, bye.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Be safe, everyone.
Bye, Gil. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Grateful, Liane. Marina.
Thank
you.
Aldo.
Valdo. Evelyn. Bye, Evelyn.
Beautiful.
Gratidão, Arthur. Gratidão, Silvia.
Yeah, Vasily.
Bye.
Bye.
Grateful, Sylvia.
Ai, que lindo.
Yasu Vanya, Yasu.
Tchau, tchau, tchau.
Fernanda. Petra.
Ciao, Liane. Ciao.
Amazing.
Ciao. We are going to be here all together. Yes, with Sylvia and Jill. Bye, dears. Bye, bye. Bye, bye.
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 Marina, beautiful.
Bye, Till. Thank you very much.
Aldo.
Bye, Jill. Bye.
Bye, Tim. Bye.
Tchau, tchau, pessoal do Brasil. Tchau, pessoal.
Thank you, Thank you so much.
I need to go. Bye.
Bye, Sylvia.
Bye.
Goodbye to everyone. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
God bless you, Sylvia. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Rest in peace, David. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, sir.
Bye.
Bye, Joseph.
Bye.
Yosune, bye Yosune, bye Yosune, bye.
Querida Liane, nos vemos en mayo. Sidrería, te quiero.
Bye, Adam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Adam.
Bye, Sylvia.
Bye.
Bye, Adam.
Bye,
Thank you.
Adam.
Nice to
Nice
meet
to have met you.
Bye.
Bye, Adam.
Hey,
Bye.
Danny.
Bye bye, Gui. Liane, guapa. Tudo bom, tudo jóia. Querida.
Isabella, thank you for the poem.
Joia, tudo joia.
Bom, tudo jóia. Muito obrigada.
Obrigada. Obrigada. I love this word.
Nelly,
Hi,
thank
yeah.
you very much, Nelly. Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye, Gabriela.
Bye, Sylvia. Thank you. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Marina.
Bye, Eliane.
Bye, Cornelia.
Bye,
Bye bye.
All the best for you in Haydn and in the rest of the world.
Thank you, Avi.
Thank you, Avi.
Bye bye.
Yes.
And we keep in touch.
We keep in touch, yes.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Adam. Nice to meet you, Adam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
Sylvia.
important.
Sylvia, I send you a
Adam
song
before.
tomorrow.
Who is speaking right now?
Right now it's Gabriela, and
Ah,
I
yes.
send you. I send you. You know, my talking is nice, but the singing is better.
I
Or comes
know,
more.
it's wonderful. Looking forward to your song.
I send it to you tomorrow. If you want, you can share
Yes,
it.
thank you
Yeah.
very much.
I did not
Gabriela.
know how to make it. So.
Fine, wonderful. Cute.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
I have to leave, right?
Me too.
Okay.
Bye, Lily. Thank you, Lily.
I leave now.
Love
Giuliani.
you. Love you.
Bye.
Very good.
Thank you, love. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Sweli.
Bye.
Hope you see me.
Bye, Marina. It was wonderful. Your sharing.
Marina.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you.
It was a beautiful moment, I have to say.
If I speak,
Very,
does it-
very touching.
Now your mic is okay, Adam.
Oh, it is. You can hear me.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's weird because I didn't have any signal from that. Thank you, Dimitris, and thank you, everybody.
It was nice to meet you,
Thank
Adam.
you for being
Very
here,
nice.
Adam.
Very nice to meet you, Adam. And to meet Runa.
Yes,
And Rona.
very
Fantastic,
wonderful. And
fantastic.
now I leave the meeting then.
I remember when Runa came to us, Till and Runa had the same age, but Till, Runa was already the uncle of Till.
That's right. Yes, yes. Yes, they were born the same year.
We had jokes about that.
Uh-huh. Right. Well, it was it fitted together much better than anybody could imagine.
So we keep in touch.
Yes, we did that. And it was so wonderful seeing some of these people that I'd not seen for like 40 plus years. I remember Vic, and I remember Courtney, and
Yes.
and some of the other people too.
Yeah.
And it was so wonderful to hear and see Kenneth.
Yes.
Yeah, it's bringing everything into focus. Thank you again.
Thank you, Adam.
Bye, Adam.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. So we're looking forward to see the video of all, so we can look at it once more.
Yeah.
Because as well, all the contribution of the institutes and the filming was so wonderful. So I have to digest it and see it again. You know, it's amazing. Alejandro's video, Vasili's video, the others, fantastic. We're sharing such a richness together. So we are very lucky. And I have a feeling David is around somehow.
Of course he is.
He is, yes, he is.
Well, actually, I have to say that I felt David's presence right here in front of me with his blue pullover and kind of emanating a sense of, you know, of how can I say? I could feel the strength from his trunk, you know, from his chest, and saying, you know, you can do it, you know.
Yes, yes, yes. Very much a gesture he had to put the hand on the heart. He did this with me. Very few, maybe the day before he died, I was kneeling before him on his bed, and suddenly he put his hand on my heart for a long time, but not like, just like a peaceful connection, not like giving or taking, just being. And it stays with me when I feel lonely at night sometimes. I just imagine this heart, his hand on the heart, like you said, Marina, this presence with the trunk.
Yes.
Very much. So many people talked about these very simple gestures he had, which were like giving his gifts out. And he did this, even like you heard from Till in his last conversation with him, just by saying yes or giving signals with his hand.
Yeah.
And he was very, very honest too. I think he was so, because Tricia Scott was here. She was my first therapist in Japan. I haven't seen her for over 40 years. And she said to me, before I have met David, you will see, you will go on well with David. He is a very integral man, a man of integrity. And he was that up to his dying, because once I was really looking into his eyes, you know, and his eyes were open, but he was dying. And I said to David, can you still see me? And he just could say, no. So he just was, however he was, you know, very honest, very honest. Yeah.
I found something that David had written for me on a trip, a book that I had in you know, during the conference in Lisbon in 2006. And I don't remember now, there was something about rose, and he wrote to me, the rose can save you. I think it had something to do with a session in Portugal or something. Yeah, I found that. And somebody did mention something about roses before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And another feeling I have, you know, is this feeling that, you know, whatever we have learned and all this experience with biosynthesis and it's, you know, it's something that I feel, it's a funny feeling, but a very strong feeling that this thing nobody can ever take away from us, no matter what happens.
Mm.
And it brings me a really deep sense of trust or confidence of trust, and I don't know, it's a very strong feeling anyway. It's a very deep knowledge and deep wisdom and all these teachings and experiences, and so really grateful for all that.
Thank you
to both of you.
Yeah, yeah. And in his last, it's very interesting that in his last 2 years, and especially coming nearer and nearer to death, he was deeply interested in poetry. He was, you could tell him things, political things, whatever, and wasn't coming so near to him. But as soon you were reading a poem, or because his language, because his neuropathy was hitting his expression, so he couldn't talk anymore well. So I was reading him his poems, and he said to me as well that this poem and the poetic side, in a wide sense, is like his way of connecting to the essence. And I think when he gave a session, he was somehow doing that like a poet, like co-creating a poem together. And this was very, very strong, the nearer he came to death. So it's amazing. And I think this is which made it so individually, because then always he could approach each one from this very individual contact to his or her essence from his one. And then he got this co-creation of co-wisdom somehow. Yeah. And this he was living more and more and more until the moment of his death. So it was great to witness all that. It was actually, at the end, it is a joyful experience. At the end, if I look at it from a whole perspective, and I'm not getting into, I want your body back and all these things. I want to smell you. I want to touch you. I want to see you. If I get away from that and feel the richness of all of the depths of experience, which we could share with him, which everyone could share with him, then it is just, it is just great to be part of it, like you all are part of it.
You know, I read David's poem where he says, "Who dies, not I." I read it to my mother, who is 88 years old now. She's okay, she's in good shape, but she's very afraid of the thought of dying. And I read her the poem, and she heard it. I feel it had an impact on her. Although she doesn't know much about what I do, but this time she heard it, so it was quite interesting. So it is spreading at all levels.
No.
Time to go.
I think that we have come to the very end.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you all for organizing it and for everything.
Thank you, Demetri.
It was a pleasure and an honor. Thank
Hello, Sylvia.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Georgia. Bye-bye.
Tschüss,
Bye.
Silvia.
Bye-bye,
Tschüss,
Sylvia.
Silvia. Tschüss,
Bye.
Silvia. Tschüss.
Bye, Cornelia.
Tschüss,
Bye,
Silvia.
bye, bye.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Sylvia.
Bye-bye. I love you.
Bye, Sylvia. Bye, everyone.
Sylvia.
Bye,
Bye.
Nelly. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Susanna.
Bye-bye,
Sylvia.
Sil.
Bye, Petra.
And thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, Maze.
Bye-bye, Sylvia. Bye-bye. I love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Lily, thank you so much for organizing, so much holding it together. It's fantastic.
Well,
And thank you
right.
so much for all what you do for the European Association. It is wonderful. So we need your wisdom. Thank you.
I try for the best.
Yeah, you do. You do. You not even try. You are in it.
Thank you.
David always say, in the last years you are coming, he always say, oh, Lily is in a very good place. He said, I remember that. It was years back he said that when he saw you.
Yeah, it was nice.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Very
Oh,
much.
bye-bye,
Thank you,
Sveli.
thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, Sveli.
Bye, Sylvia. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Isabella.
Bye, Petra.
Petra. Oh, Petra, what was this word we were laughing hilariously in Haydn?
I do not remember. It was something with.
Don't you remember we had one
No,
word?
no. We were talking about swimming. Was it about swimming, right? It was about. Marina told us. I don't know. That was so good.
And so nice to see you, Susanna, after so many years. It's incredible. Oh, I think David feels very, very, very appreciated. I think these vibes of appreciation goes to the cosmos and reach him, and as well in this room, I think. Sometimes it's such a peaceful atmosphere in this room. And when I get very nervous or can't sleep, I lie into the bed where he died, and I get a peace in it. It's amazing. So there are some amazing experiences around dying as well, and after death. I try to write it down.
Yeah, especially the first 40 days.
Exactly. It was a ritual on the 6th of January, which we did with the urn and the ashes around this ash tree here. We did after 49 days after his death. And Sally helped me a lot. She is not anymore here, but she helped me a lot as well. So after some time, every second day, we talked a bit about it and encouraging me, because we had this almost 40 years old sharing in the Bob Moore groups. And so that was very important. And even this tree, this ash tree, like all ash trees in Europe, I think have an illness. So maybe the tree will die. And I say to David, but do you really want that I distribute the ash tree, your ashes around the ash tree? And he said, oh yes, never mind. The energy of the tree will stay. Because I had some doubts. We had conversations about all of this.
Yeah.
And I think so. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.
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 Bye, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
No, you're not, honey.
Bye.
Ciao.
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 Ciao, ciao.